Okay, let me show you that what we did in our last class, and then we will continue with the topic. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so this was our last topic that we are done with the arteries, veins, and capillaries, and I have explained you that what are the different layers or different linings of an artery in a vein, right, and how they're adapted to perform their function of supplying blood away from heart, and how they're adapted to bring blood back into the heart, right? Excuse me. So now today we will see this table to have a comparison between three of them again, briefly, and then we will move on to the next topic, right? Okay, so if we talk about the muscular artery, I told you that the muscular arteries are mainly present near to the organs, right? They are less elastic because they have got more muscles as compared to the elastic muscle fibers, right? So mus arteries can be definitely bigger or smaller arteries, but the smaller arteries are usually muscular arteries because when the artery supplies blood to any part of the body, like I told you, when, for example, this is an artery that is supplying blood towards any part of the body, right? This artery first splits into smaller arteries, and that is called as an arteriole, right? So this is an artery, and when it supplies blood towards the organ of any part of your body, it first splits into smaller arteries, and that is called as arterioles, right? And then they split into capillaries bed, right? And the capillary bed that is present near to the artery, that is called as atrial capillary bed, and the capillary bed that is present near to the veins, that is called as venous capillary bed. Now here, if we talk about, this is the bigger artery, right? And the smaller artery is this one, and these are called as arterioles. Arterioles are also called as muscular arteries because their middle layer, that is, I told you that there are three layers present in an artery's wall. There is endothelium, there is elastic muscle fiber wall, and then the outermost lining is that is tunica media is the middle layer, and tunica externa, this is tunica externa, external lining, right? And this is media, means it is the middle lining. And this one that is called as endothelium, the innermost, is called as tunica intima. Intima means the innermost, or endothelium, right? It is made up of epithelial cells, squamous epithelial cells. They are smooth muscles, smooth cells and flat cells, and they are present in the lining of an artery, right? So this is the middle layer, tunica media, and this mainly has got elastic muscle fibers in a in an elastic artery, like aorta. Why aorta is called as elastic artery? Because it has got more elastic muscle fibers in the middle layer as compared to the smooth muscles and the collagen, right? Collagen is a protein that provides more strength and support to the blood vessel, and you can say the collagen and the other muscles, like smooth muscles, they help in contraction and relaxation, and they also help the artery to, you can say, maintain its uh, shape, right? It should not get collapsed, it should not get flexible, or you can say इसको ऐसे बंद नहीं हो जाना चाहिए. It should not be very flexible, right? You understand support क्या होती है, strength क्या होती है. So basically इस elastic muscle fibers की वजह से तो elasticity आती है. Support and strength, right? That is provided by collagen, right? And smooth muscles, right? ताकि वो अपना एक intact रहे, अपने structure को maintain करे, right? So muscular artery is basically the artery that has less elastin or elastic fibers, right? And they have got more smooth muscles, right? And they have got narrow lumen in comparison. Okay? And they have got the ability to constrict and dilate. So why? Because according to the pressure of the blood, they can constrict and dilate as well. According to the condition, they can constrict and dilate. जब हमने होमियोस्टेसिस करना होता है तो नियर टू द स्किन जो आर्टरीज आती हैं, जो आर्टरियोल्स आते हैं, शंट वेजल्स जिनको बोलते हैं, दे आर एक्चुअली मस्कुलर आर्टरीज, ठीक है। और जब ड्यूरिंग हॉट एंड कोल्ड कंडीशन व्हेन वेजोकंस्ट्रिक्शन एंड वेजोडाइलेशन, रिमेंबर यू हैव स्टडीड दिस टॉपिक इन आईजीसीएसई, कि जब हमें ठंड लगती है या कोल्ड कंडीशन होती है तो ब्लड वेसल्स जो होती हैं वो कंस्ट्रिक्ट कर जाती हैं, वो क्या हो जाती हैं, उनका ल्यूमेन नैरो हो जाता है नियर टू द स्किन। क्यों हो जाता है? सो दैट लेस हीट कैन एस्केप आउट फ्रॉम योर स्किन। वेसोडाइलेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? व्हेन द ब्लड वेसल्स डायलेट and their lumen gets broader so that more flow of blood could take place near to the skin and so that more heat can escape out of it. ठीक है। मस्कुलर आर्टरी कैन नॉट स्ट्रेच एंड रिकॉइल, राइट, बिकॉज उनके अंदर इलास्टिक फाइबर्स नहीं है ना, कम है, ठीक है। सो ब्लड फ्लोज अंडर हाई प्रेशर, राइट, प्रेशर भी ज्यादा होता है क्योंकि नैरो ल्यूमेन है और ब्लड का फ्लो ऑर्गन में प्रॉपर होना चाहिए, राइट। इलास्टिक आर्टरी अगर देखें, दे हैव गॉट मोर इलास्टिक मसल फाइबर, सो दैट्स व्हाई they have got the more, they are more stretchy and they're more, you can say, resistant to the pressure of the blood, ठीक है। और जब इसमें से ब्लड पास करता है तो ये डायलेट भी कर सकती हैं और रिकॉइल भी कर सकती हैं, ठीक है। डायलेट का मतलब क्या? एक्सपैंड करती हैं जब ब्लड प्रेशर से इनके अंदर से गुजरता है। रिलेटिवली अगर हम देखें तो इसके अंदर जो स्मूथ मसल फाइबर्स हैं वो कम है और इलास्टिक मसल फाइबर्स जो हैं वो ज्यादा है इन रिलेशन टू इलास्टिक मसल फाइबर्स। नैरो ल्यूमन होता है बिकॉज इट्स एन आर्टरी, इट्स नॉट अ वेन, ठीक है। ब्लड इसमें भी हाई प्रेशर से मूव करता है, बट दे कैन नॉट डू कंस्ट्रिक्शन एंड वेजोकंस्ट्रिक्शन एंड वेजोडाइलेशन, राइट। वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट इट। वेन क्या है? वन वे वाल्व्स होते हैं इसके अंदर जिनको हम सेमी ल्यूनर वाल्व्स बोलते हैं, राइट। सेमी ल्यूनर वाल्व्स होते हैं वेन्स के अंदर। क्यों होते हैं? बिकॉज टू प्रिवेंट द बैकवर्ड फ्लो ऑफ ब्लड, बिकॉज वेन्स में जो ब्लड प्रेशर होता है वो बहुत कम होता है, राइट। बैकवर्ड फ्लो पॉसिबल होता है वेन्स में, लेकिन अल्लाह ताला ने एट एवरी फ्यू सेंटीमीटर्स इंचेस, राइट, हमारे बॉडी में हर वेन के अंदर there are many semilunar valves present. Their lumen is wider, that's why pressure is very low. They have got less smooth muscles, less elastic fibers, lots of collagen is present, although, so that they can maintain their structure and so that they can be provided with some strength so that they can they don't collapse, right. And they don't have any you can say ability to stretch and recoil because they don't have to resist any pressure and they don't have to face any pressure, ठीक है। क्यों? क्योंकि veins are bringing blood back from the body parts. Veins are not receiving blood directly from the heart. Are you all getting me? Any question? Any question? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now the last is the capillary, right? They have got relatively very small diameter and they have got many branches near to every organ, every tissue, every living cell, right? Why? Because they are actually the ones that are going to do the exchange of substances, right? और आप कह सकते हो diffusion इसी part में होती है ताकि nutrients, oxygen can go into the tissue fluid and then into the cells, and then the waste products can come out of the cells into the tissue fluid, and then they can go into the capillaries, back into the venous capillary bed, and so that they can bring the waste products back to the blood stream, ठीक है। तो ये इनकी जो वॉल्स होती हैं अगर हम देखें तो ये वॉल्स नहीं होती, बेसिकली इतनी थिन होती हैं दैट दे आर ओनली वन सेल्ड थिक, there are no muscles present, they are not multi-layered. Multi-layered का मतलब क्या है कि सिर्फ एक, जब मैं कह रही हूँ कि वन सेल्ड थिक है तो इसमें कोई layers of cells नहीं होती, और यही वो रीजन है that why there is a rapid diffusion that is possible in the capillaries. They increase the cross-sectional area, they increase the surface area, right, for the maximum exchange of substances and for the maximum, you can say, the supply of blood near to the organ so that they can be efficiently supplied with the oxygen, with the glucose, with the amino acids, with all the things like antibodies or the other stuff, so that they can hormones, enzymes, right? So that they can perform their function uh, effectively. Blood travels relatively slow. क्यों? Why? Because ये क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया बढ़ा देते हैं ना. For example, this is an arteriole. Then it further splits into network of capillaries, right? तो क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया बढ़ गया ना, सरफेस एरिया भी बढ़ गया. और जब ब्लड स्प्लिट हो गया 4 पाथवेज में, तो डोंट यू थिंक कि उसके फ्लो में थोड़ी कमी आ जाएगी, उसके स्पीड में थोड़ी कमी आ जाएगी. ठीक है. Substances can diffuse across the walls very quickly from the capillaries, right? And they are very adapted to do the exchange of substances, right? ये हमने कल डिस्कस किया था क्लास में. और this is not enough for the you can say the blood vessels. We need to discuss some more things in blood vessels. I'm going to show you one of the diagram from your book, right? So that we can see what are the different blood vessels that are supplying blood to the kidney, that are supplying blood to the liver, or the different organs of your body, right? So these are the different, these are the micrographs, or you can say the diagrams that can show you the walls present, or you can say the structure of an artery, vein, and capillary. This is an artery, this is a vein, and this is a capillary, right? और मैंने ये कल आपके साथ सारा डिस्कस किया था in detail. Now I'm going back to this diagram. As in this diagram, you can see that there are different blood vessels that are supplying blood to the different organs, and most of them are coming out from aorta, but not all of them. There are some veins as well, and the veins are coming out. They are also present wherever an artery is present. There will always be a vein present. ठीक है, क्योंकि blood जो supply करना है, उस blood को वापस भी लाना है, right? So there are carotid arteries, there are subclavian arteries, there is aorta, right? Now let's see what are they. Arteries are basically the ones that are supplying blood away from heart. Keep it in your mind. And veins always bring blood back to the heart. And it is not necessary that arteries will always carry oxygenated blood. No, it's not so. There are some exceptional arteries that are supplying deoxygenated blood. ठीक है? एक तो यहीं पर आपको नजर आ रही है. One is the pulmonary artery that is supplying deoxygenated blood towards the lungs so that it can become oxygenated again. और दूसरी आर्टरी होती है, उसको हम कहते हैं एम्ब्लिकल आर्टरी. एम्ब्लिकल आर्टरी तब डेवलप होती है जब वोम में बेबी की डेवलपमेंट होती है. ठीक है, जो उसमें प्लेसेंटल विली में और एम्ब्लिकल कॉर्ड में रन कर रही होती है. ठीक है. सो पल्मोनरी आर्टरी इज एन एक्सेप्शनल आर्टरी. Rest of the arteries, yes, they are supplying oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. अब इस oxygenated blood में कुछ waste products भी होते हैं like यूरिया. ठीक है. अच्छा जी, यहाँ पर अगर आप रेड कलर में जो आर्टरीज देख रहे हैं, दे आर मोस्टली you can say the arteries that are supplying oxygenated blood. अब यहाँ पर आप pulmonary artery देखें. ठीक है, that is made by blue color. ये नजर आ रही है, ये ब्लू कलर से बनी हुई है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड सप्लाई करती है. ठीक है. कैरोटिड आर्टरी सप्लाइज ब्लड टू द नेक एंड द ब्रेन एंड द अपर बॉडी पार्ट्स, और यू कैन से द फेस. शोल्डर्स में सबक्लेवियन आर्टरी लेके जा रही है. इसी तरह जो वापस ला रही है वेन, वो अपर बॉडी पार्ट से या फेस से या ब्रेन से आप कह लो, उसको हम कैरोटिड वेन नहीं बोलते, उसको हम बोलते हैं जगलर वेन. ठीक है, ये एक थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है यहाँ पर. Rest of the things you can relate to them, like subclavian artery has a subclavian vein to bring blood back. You can say pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein. Okay, they are related. They are linked to the lungs. Renal artery and the renal vein that are supplying blood to the kidneys. Hepatic artery and hepatic vein, they are related to the liver. Iliac artery related to the legs, right? Mesenteric related to the digestive system. There is one exceptional vein, this one. Can you see this one? Can you see this vein? This is hepatic portal vein. And this hepatic portal vein is actually the vein that is not directly connected to the circulatory system. It is involved in transporting blood, definitely, but that blood is supplying of nutrients, absorbing nutrients from the intestine, right? Or you can say the digestive system, and then it is taking it to the liver, right? And that's why it is called as hepatic portal vein, because it is not direct, it is porting, or it is transporting the blood to the liver, not to the main circulatory system, right? So you need to memorize all these names of the arteries and veins, and you should have an idea that which artery or which blood vessel is supplying blood to which part of the body. We are just done with this all, right, in our last class, right? And we have discussed this. Now comes the turn for blood pressure in the circulatory system, right? If we talk about the blood vessels and the whole structure, the network of blood vessels present in our body and heart, the blood vessels that are coming out from the heart, that are entering into the heart, that are supplying blood to the different parts of the body, they are mainly aorta, arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, veins, vena cava. This is one circulation. This is systemic circulation, that is between the heart and the body, and this is pulmonary circulation. Okay, they have divided it into two parts. So the maximum pressure that you can see is in the aorta, then into the arteries, then into the arterioles, right? Then into the capillaries, then venules, then veins, then vena cava, right? So because they are veins, vena cava is the biggest one, and veins have got less pressure. Then here comes the pulmonary artery. Why there is again an increase in the pressure here? Adil, do you have any idea? Any clues?
To push the blood out
To send the blood out to send the
the whole
blood out
body.
to whole body. Pulmonary artery is carrying blood in your whole body. Okay, nice.
No, ma'am, lungs.
लंग्स माय चाइल्ड लंग्स ठीक है यहां से ये पल्मोनरी आर्टरी इज कैरिंग ब्लड टू द लंग्स नॉट टू द होल बॉडी और पल्मोनरी आर्टरी किसके साथ कनेक्टेड होती है राइट साइड ऑफ द हार्ट तो राइट वेंट्रिकल जब कंट्रैक्ट करता है तो पल्मोनरी आर्टरी रिसीव करती है ब्लड तो पल्मोनरी आर्टरी में इस वजह से थोड़ा सा प्रेशर बिल्ड होता है बिकॉज इट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द राइट वेंट्रिकल और थोड़ा क्यों होता है मैम लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल से जब एओर्टा में जाता है तो फिर तो इतना प्रेशर ज्यादा हो रहा है तो यहाँ कम क्यों हो रहा है व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट इज द मस्कुलेचर ऑफ द हार्ट कि जो राइट साइड है हार्ट के वेंट्रिकल की उसकी जो वॉल है उसकी थिकनेस बहुत कम होती है इन कंपैरिजन टू द थिकनेस ऑफ द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल ठीक है और जो थिक ज्यादा होगा डेफिनेटली जब वो स्क्वीज करेगा जब वो कंट्रैक्ट करेगा मसल तो डेफिनेटली इट विल क्रिएट मोर प्रेशर सो द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल क्रिएट्स मोर प्रेशर एंड द राइट वेंट्रिकल क्रिएट्स लेस प्रेशर इज दैट क्लियर दैट्स व्हाई पल्मोनरी आर्टरी में प्रेशर आया है लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा मैक्सिमम राइज नहीं आया लाइक एओर्टा आर्टेरियोल्स में फिर फर्दर कम हो रहा है कैपिलरीज वेन्स पल्मोनरी वेन्स में बहुत कम है राइट सो मैम व्हेन देयर इज वेरी लेस प्रेशर इन द वेन्स हाउ कम द ब्लड कम्स बैक अगेंस्ट ग्रेविटी फ्रॉम द लेग्स इनटू द हार्ट चलिए ऊपर से तो माना कि चलो ग्रेविटी से भी आ सकता है लेकिन व्हाई इफ देयर इज नो प्रेशर इन द वेन्स प्रेशर नहीं है ना यहाँ पर आप देखो इसकी वैल्यू क्या आ रही है ये इतना सा प्रेशर है तो ये अगर इतना सा प्रेशर होता है तो फिर ये वापस आता कैसे है वेन्स कैसे लेके आती हैं ब्लड को ब्लड में तो फोर्स ही नहीं है बट देर आर semilunar valves this is one adaptation that will allow it to prevent the backward flow of blood number two there are I told you in my last class as well maybe that is the skeletal muscles right जब skeletal muscles contract करते हैं near to a vein can you see this diagram ठीक है इस डायग्राम में आप क्या देख रहे हो कि ये वेन है और यहां से ब्लड आगे मूव कर रहा है, ठीक है। दिस इज अ सेमिल्यूनर वाल्व दैट प्रिवेंट्स द बैकवर्ड फ्लो। जब ब्लड आगे मूव कर गया एंड व्हेन इट ट्राइज टू कम बैक, ठीक है, तो ये जो कप्स ऑफ वाल्व्स हैं दे विल गेट फिल्ड अप विद द ब्लड, और बजाय ओपन रखने के ये क्या करेंगे, इसको प्रेस डाउन करेंगे और ये फ्लैप्स क्लोज हो जाएंगे। आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट एवरीवन? इज दैट क्लियर? इज दैट क्लियर? सो ये जो फोर्स आ रही है यहाँ पर,
Yes, ma'am.
ये जो एरोज आपको शो कर रही है, दिस इज द फोर्स कमिंग फ्रॉम द skeletal muscles. Contraction and relax, contraction, right? When they contract, they push the vein, ठीक है, उसके ऊपर प्रेशर डालते हैं, और जब प्रेशर आता है तो ब्लड में प्रेशर क्रिएट हो जाता है। इज दैट क्लियर? इज दैट क्लियर? ओके।
Yes, ma'am.
No answer means what should I take from no answer, whether it's clear or not? Okay जी, let's move on. अंश किधर हो तुम? अंश, are you here? अंश, I want to hear you बेटे। माइक प्रॉब्लम, ओके जी। Let's do the next topic now. The next topic is tissue fluid. Any clue about tissue fluid? That what do we mean by tissue fluid? जी। जी लो।
Ma'am,
जी बेटे, any question?
you asked about tissue fluid. It's the fluid that contains waters and proteins and helps in the basically it helps give the proteins to other parts to the cells.
Okay. So don't mind if if I say that it's not correct, right? Because I'm here to do that. So I'm sorry.
Right, yeah,
Yes,
of course.
you are right that tissue fluid helps in the exchange of some of the substances, but they are not proteins, my sweetheart, because tissue fluid can never have a protein in it. You know why? Because the tissue fluid is, first of all, we need to understand that what do we mean by tissue fluid, right? Tissue fluid is basically wait, let me open my whiteboard so that I can define you the term tissue fluid, right? And let me tell you that how the tissue fluid is formed so that you understand it well. ठीक है? अब होता क्या है, I told you when an artery supplies blood towards any organ, right? It splits into arterioles. आप कहेंगे मैम बार बार उसी पॉइंट पे चली जाती हैं, because this is important to go back to this point, right? And then it splits into a network of capillaries, right? And you know that capillaries are always present near to the tissues like that. These are the living cells of our body, of any organ, of any part of the body, right? And they need nutrients and they need substances from the blood. ठीक है? अब होगा क्या कि जब ये blood, atrial blood, this is an artery, right? This is an arteriole, right? And these are capillaries. When the blood comes into the capillaries, what will happen? what does blood contains? Blood contains plasma. Blood contains nutrients, dissolved nutrients like glucose, right? And other stuff, fats and amino acids and other things. Blood also contains plasma proteins, right? Blood also contains antibodies, hormones. All of them are considered as plasma proteins because they are dissolved in it. ठीक है, इसके अलावा इसमें पानी भी होता है, इसके अलावा इसमें यूरिया भी होता है, इसके अलावा इसमें कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी हो सकता है। ठीक है, बेशक थोड़ी अमाउंट में होगा क्योंकि ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड है। ठीक है, सो दिस इज द कंपोजिशन ऑफ द ब्लड। हाँ, इसमें रेड ब्लड सेल्स भी होंगे, इसमें व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स भी होंगे, इसमें ये सारे सब्सटेंसेस होंगे। ठीक है, व्हेन ब्लड कम्स हियर, it leaks out, the blood plasma leaks out from the blood. What am I saying? Only blood plasma. I'm not saying proteins, I'm not saying the other stuff like red blood cells, white blood cells, or any other thing, right? So when the blood plasma comes out, leaks out, right? When it leaks out from the capillaries, it is no more called as plasma now, right? When it fills up the spaces present in the surrounding of the cells, now it will be called as tissue fluid. Now you got the idea that how the tissue fluid is formed, right? What do we mean by tissue fluid? Tissue fluid is basically the fluid that is present in the surrounding of the cells or tissues, respiring cells or the living cells or the living tissues, right? And these cells are bathing in it, and these cells are, you can say, exchange substances with it, right? So this is basically the environment of the cells. This is always present in the environment of the cells, and it is a very important thing to control, or to, you can say, maintain the composition of the tissue fluid so that the cells can survive. ठीक है, obviously homeostasis सारा है ही ये कि टिश्यू फ्लूइड को मेंटेन करे, टिश्यू फ्लूइड में वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स ज्यादा ना हो, टिश्यू फ्लूइड में वाटर की कंपोजिशन सही रहे, ऑस्मो रेगुलेशन हो। तो ये होम्योस्टेसिस का सारा प्रोसेस जो है वो काम इसी के लिए कर रहा होता है। ठीक है, अब when the plasma comes out, this plasma also contains some other things. This contains water in it mainly. Number two, this also contains glucose in it because it's small. This may also contain amino acids in it, right? But not proteins, my child. Why not, ma'am? Why not proteins? When you say amino acids, when you say glucose, why not proteins? Because they are too large to pass through the capillary gap. Capillary pore size is so small that it does not allow any of the plasma protein to come out of it, not even the red blood cells, right? Because red blood cells don't have, they have got the size 7 micrometer in diameter, and the capillary pore size is so small that it does not allow the red blood cells even to pass through it. But yes, white blood cells can come out of it. Why? Now the question arises, why? Ma'am, red blood cells तो white blood cells से भी छोटे होते हैं, वो नहीं आ रहे और white blood cells आ रहे हैं, तो इसके पीछे क्या reason है? The reason behind it is that the red blood cells don't have got the ability to squash themselves or to squeeze themselves to an extent कि वो कैपिलरी के गैप से बाहर आ जाए। ठीक है, दूसरा, जो वाइट ब्लड सेल्स हैं उनके अंदर अल्लाह ताला ने ऐसी स्पेशल साइटोस्केलेटन दिया होता है कि वो अपने आप को इतना स्क्वीज कर लेते हैं that they can come out of the capillary gaps very easily. ठीक है, तो that's why you can find white blood cells here. Why am I saying white blood cells? Because फिर ये व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स जाते कहाँ हैं? ये टिश्यू फ्लूइड में नहीं रहते, ठीक है, ये आपके लिम्फ नोड्स में चले जाते हैं। Are you getting my point? So this is how the tissue fluid is formed, and this is the composition of the tissue fluid, right? But yes, now we need to see the extra details that how the tissue fluid is formed, why the blood leaks out from the blood, why does not plasma leaks out from the blood, why it does not go back, or whether it goes back into the bloodstream or not, and how, right? When the plasma comes here with glucose and amino acid and the stuff, oxygen, right, the stuff that is needed, these things will diffuse into the cells, right? And water will be maintained through osmosis according to the water potential gradient, and these things will diffuse inside the cells. And in on the other hand, in return, these cells, as are living cells and they're respiring tissues, so they'll give off carbon dioxide. They may give off urea if they will be the cells of the liver, right? And those waste products, when come out in the tissue fluid, it is said that this tissue fluid goes back into the capillaries, back into the bloodstream, right? Some of it. And then some of it may enter into the lymphatic vessels. You know that there are blind ended vessels present near to every tissue, or wherever there is a network of blood vessels present, there is a network of lymphatic vessels also present. But the lymphatic vessels does not contain blood in it. They contain the lost tissue fluid, right? और ये tissue fluid जब इस lymph vessel में enter हो जाता है, तो इसके अंदर waste products होते हैं, like carbon dioxide, urea, other stuff, right? And then this tissue fluid will not be called as tissue fluid. It will be called as lymph. आपने कभी IGCSE O levels में सुना होगा इस word को कि lymph क्या होता है, lymphatic vessels क्या होती हैं, right? Are you getting my point? Is this clear to everyone? Any question?
Yes, ma'am.
अभी इसको मैंने डिटेल और करना है, ठीक है? ये भी बेसिक्स था. अब अगर हम इसको थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में मैं जाऊं तो आई कैन से कि ये जो कैपिलरी बेड होता है, फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम जस्ट मेकिंग वन कैपिलरी नाउ, ओके, ऑन माय बोर्ड. लेट्स सपोज दिस इज वन कैपिलरी, right? I'm magnifying it just to show you the process that is happening. The blood is coming here, right, with pressure, because this is the atrial bed. Half of it is towards near to the arteries, so that will be called as atrial capillary bed. And this one is called as venous capillary bed. Are you getting me? Okay, capillary bed, sorry. Okay. So the atrial capillary bed must contain useful things like oxygen, like water, like glucose, amino acids, and the venous capillary bed must contain the waste products, right? But the question arises that how the blood or the blood plasma leaks out from the, you can say, the capillaries, right? When the blood comes here with pressure, it leaks out. Pressure. So I'm saying that this is the pressure that is allowing the plasma to leak out from the capillary gaps, right? When that plasma comes here, obviously it has some glucose in it, it has mostly the water in it, right? The water potential will be high here. And as large proteins are still back into the bloodstream, तो क्या होगा, यहाँ पर सल्यूट ज्यादा हो गया ना, यहाँ पर सल्यूट का पोटेंशियल बढ़ गया, and the water potential will drop. Why? Because the water has come out. The water has come out with some dissolved substances. Okay? And those substances are very small. The large proteins are too big to create more solute potential in the capillary bed, atrial capillary bed, and less water potential in the capillary bed, atrial capillary bed. So don't you think that as the water potential is high here, right, and low here, so water should go back into the bloodstream, but it never happens like this. Are you all getting me, everyone? This is a very important and a little tricky part of this topic, right? So water does not go back. Why water does not go back? Because of the hydrostatic pressure, not potential. Potential difference is there. लेकिन वो potential difference pressure की वजह से, किसकी वजह से? हाइड्रोस्टेटिक प्रेशर की वजह से वो क्या हो रहा है? वो क्या हो रहा है? नेग्लिजिबल हो रहा है, water potential का effect. So that's why water does not go back. ठीक है, अब ये लार्ज प्रोटीन्स कंटेनिंग ब्लड विल कम हियर इन द वीनस ब्लड, ठीक है, तो नेट मूवमेंट अब यहां पर प्रेशर इज लो प्रेशर हो चुका है, क्यों? क्योंकि अब तो ये वीनस कैपिलरी बेड है, यहां पर जो टिश्यू फ्लूइड है उसके अंदर वाटर इज स्टिल हाई potential and here low potential, so and the pressure is also low, so the water does not come out, then water will go back. So that's why the tissue fluid, when I said that the tissue fluid, some of it will go back into the venous, back into the capillaries. This is how, because of the water potential difference, the water goes back into the bloodstream with some waste products dissolved in it, and because of the low pressure in the